Chris and Dan show, what is up? All you strange people out there on the internet, welcome to another episode of our humble pod. Myself, of course, Chris Sauber. We have a very special guest, Michael Charles, today. And Michael Charles, he's a trooper. He's here. He lost his voice, but we're still gonna do this podcast because it's very important what he's here to talk about, which is credit, right? You guys
Yes,
know
sir.
a thing or two about credit. We're going to get into that. So he comes from Fort Lauderdale and Miami. And then he got into counseling people, teaching people, educating people on credit. He was self-taught and he had mentors. And he says it's not about using credit, it's about leveraging it strategically. And the world of business, it's about setting up and scaling up. So we're here to debunk myths around credit and to guide you guys and gals to make smarter decisions with your credit. Maybe like not buying a TRX truck, which I just did 2 weeks ago. My credit probably tanked, but it's okay. We're here to learn from Michael because he'll teach us better.
So, Michael, before you get into the credit portion, I am kind of curious about one thing that Dan mentioned there. So, you currently live in Fort Lauderdale, is the way I understood that.
Well, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale
Love it.
for part of my life. So still in Florida, actually. Just moved up a little closer. A little too hot in Fort Lauderdale and Miami areas. I'm closer to Orlando. So if anybody's familiar with Florida, Orlando is the city where you have Mickey, you have all the theme parks, and everybody comes and visits.
I
So-
love Fort Lauderdale, man. I'd rather be in Fort Lauderdale than Miami from all the times I've been there, and definitely north too, like where you're at, closer to Orlando. Love that part of Florida. Florida's awesome.
So, I've only been to Orlando. So, my question was going to be,
Really?
of the
Chris
three,
Sabra has not been to Miami /
No,
Fort Lauderdale? What?
of the three areas, where would you have somebody move? Where would you advise somebody new to Florida move to? Of those three areas.
Out of the three areas, I would say I'm a little biased because I'm here in the areas, is Orlando, because the surrounding cities in Orlando are still developing. So there's opportunities for growth and opportunities to really advance in Miami. Miami is a really be established, location. You have the multiple downtown areas. Fort Lauderdale and Miami are literally, moments away. So you can interchange between two cities within 15, 20 minutes, depending on traffic. Where Orlando is just centralized in the center, and you have opportunities again to go multiple locations in the surrounding areas where it's a lot cheaper to live. So you don't have to live directly in the city.
All right. Fair enough.
I'm just
Also,
amazed Chris never been to Miami or Fort Lauderdale. This is shocking. That's like Dallas for me until recently, because I
Sure.
just went to Dallas for the first time, like actually see the city. But wow, you got to go out there, man. Come on, Michael, we got to get Chris out there.
Come on, let me know. Set the
Will
flight.
do.
I'll set the adventure.
There you go. So, one thing about Orlando I did read is it's the safest if you're fearful of hurricanes. Safest place in Florida. So you got something going on there.
For sure. Florida itself is known for its hurricanes.
Yep.
You know,
And you've been getting a lot of that rain. That's why the hoarse voice a bit.
oh yeah. So it's been storming heavy, and if you've been watching the news, it's been flooding also in the state. Again, we're right on the coast. So with a lot of rain, then you're so close to the ocean. Water's just been rising. So when it's raining consistently for 3 or 4 days, that causes it. That causes it. I wasn't a fan. I wasn't aware if they was going to be like that, so I decided to run in the rain a couple times.
It's like Tupac says, when it rains, it pours. We got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. We're
Bars.
gonna start with bars. We got it. We're gonna
Bars.
finish with bars, but we can't ruin the
Hey, no
surprise.
hints.
No hints, just a small one, small big one. Chris, what do you have to want to know about credit, man? Because we
Well,
need to hack our credit, man.
So tell us a little bit about what you do in your advisory of credit. So what's your advice? Your main
Uh,
advice?
Well, I definitely love Dan's intro of me and and my history, my path. With credit in itself as a whole, really, it's a tool that we should all use to be able to advance in our careers, in our lives as a whole. And again, I use that as a tool, but there's multiple aspects to what you can become, where you can become an asset. I have a mentor that always says that you need three things in life to really become an asset, and that's a mindset, tool set, and a skill set. Again, credit is a tool set, so you also have to come with a mindset, because with the wrong mindset, you can end up in debt. Where bad debt in a sense, where a lot of people, where about 80%, 89% of all Americans are in at this point, where they're just on a day-to-day basis, trying to figure out how to go about getting approvals, go about being able to buy a home, going about being able to buy a car. A lot of people are struggling with that from a day because they don't have the right mindset on how to leverage their credit. They're using their credit but not leveraging it.
Yeah, you kind of touched on something there. Just recently, I saw something about Americans are in the most credit card debt in history, which is bad debt for the most part, right? You would agree with that?
I would agree, and it's how the debt is being used. If we're living with a consumer mindset where we're all we're doing is just buying to consume and not something to reproduce or something to bring in cash flow, then yes, that is what I would consider bad debt.
Man, the debt on some of these credit cards are like 27%. I think the max is 30% that they actually allow them to charge. So we're almost at the max rates that they're legally allowed to charge.
True, true. And, with interest rates as a whole coming in, going as high as it has been lately, and lenders really just sticking with that, sticking to the consumers. Like I said, when you're going in and borrowing debt as a consumer, you're really getting the short stick of the straw, as I like to say. So as we continue to just start using our credit, we start realizing it's so much harder to get out of it. So for me, as far as education, I teach people how to first, get it's important to be able to get qualified for certain credit cards or certain or items, being able to buy a car. But I always follow up with a question of what are you going to do with the item? What are you going to do with those things once you get that? And using your credit to be able to purchase a car or start a business is a beautiful conversation to start with. So if you come to me and say, hey, let's go, or if you come to me and say, I want to start a business, or I want to start to get my life together or buy a home, but I don't have the perfect credit. I go through the process. I do have a credit repair company, and I assist people in repairing their credit. People they go through the disputable process and remove either collections, charge-offs, late payments, inquiries, all those things that are negatively impacting your credit score, to allow you to put you in a better position to move forward with the opportunity to leverage your credit.
Nice.
Can you?
So,
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
no, I was going to go on a very long topic here potentially. So you go ahead, Dan.
Probably better to save it for right now because I was gonna ask Michael, like, how did you even get started in this? It's how did you discover? Was it out of necessity, or did you always have good credit, or did you have to fix like your own credit first and then decided, hey, there's other people that need this help?
I realized that credit was something to hold on to early in life. So as far as saying I had bad credit, I wouldn't say I had bad credit. But I didn't know how to use my credit. I was fearful of using my credit. I was fearful of, having my credit ran for a new car or for that store card when I go to Macy's,
Mm.
or getting a new credit card, not realizing that I was limiting myself by using cash. I always
Ah,
say that cash is king, but credit is power. So
yeah,
if
cash
I
is
were
trash.
if I were to spend a whole year to build up a cash account to be able to purchase an item or purchase a vehicle that's going to allow me to get the dream job that I want because it's a far enough distance. I'm limiting myself. I'm actually using up time, which is another asset that I don't want to waste. So when you are able to leverage credit, you're able to get that car that you need to be able to commute back and forth to a job that's maybe 40 miles away or in another city that is giving you more income. And another means is being able to buy a house. You either have to have a large down payment or a good personal credit to be able to purchase a home. Um,
Yeah.
when it comes
I
into the
know
good,
I know
yeah, go ahead.
someone in this situation right now, and um it tends to run this mindset definitely runs in the Mexican culture a lot. Like, let's not get credit, only use the money we have, like what you were saying. So one of my nephews actually is in this situation where he can't buy a house because they run his credit. And like you said, it's not bad, but it's almost like non-existent because everything he does is with cash. So I told him,
Mhm.
just go get a credit card, man. Buy like a Diet Coke every month. Sorry, Dr. Joe. Get like a regular Coke, and then pay it off. And like, okay, next month maybe spend a little more, pay it off in full. Start building your credit because the banks, they want to see a history. They don't want to see nothing on your file.
Now,
That is correct. They want you to use, they want you to be able to use it, but also use it wisely. What
Yeah.
happens is that we end up spending buying that soda or buying 3 or 4 sodas and not paying it off at the end of the month. And I've been put in that position myself to where I got into where I overutilized it. But again, that's where coming into the mindset of being able to not think of credit as in the consumer mindset. To
Mm.
You have to use it to be able to benefit you in the long run, or have something to be able to bring something back to you, if that makes sense.
so it does. I would I would slightly disagree with one thing that you both are saying.
Mm.
Um, and I don't know if this is accurate, but I was told a long time ago by a finance manager that when you're first establishing credit, you don't want to pay the debt off. What you want to do is you want to pay the debt for at least 6 months, then pay it off. And the reason is because you have no established history of being able to make payments and make them on time. So if you're going to buy a house, you want to be able to establish that you can make payments on time, or even a car. You got to establish that you can make payments on time, right? Which kind of in my mind at the time when I was told that seemed to be kind of contradictory because, well, if you pay it off on time all the time, doesn't it kind of establish the same thing? But according to him, that was not the case. So I'm not necessarily disagreeing with. I've just been told different information. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's more towards loans. If you're getting a loan which is an installment loan, that's represented slightly different than credit cards. Credit cards, they count towards your utilization, which is 35% of impact towards your actual credit score. Loans itself, installment loans there's a revolving credit and installment loans. Installment credit. So the revolving credit is your credit usage throughout a 30-day time frame. So whatever credit you're using off your revolving credit, is what is counted towards your utilization. But a loan itself, you do want to keep a loan for a long period of time. 6 months is that earliest that you want. So if you do get a car, if you do get something, you don't want to pay it off within a month or within 2 months or 3. You want to keep it at least for 6 months, pay it off, and then that will actually show a strong payment history in that sense.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
So
Michael
it
knows his shit.
depends on what type of credit you're trying to establish.
Exactly. That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. With your credit cards, you want to keep your utilization down. So you don't want to keep making large payments towards that, because obviously a lot of that is going towards interest. Majority of that's going towards interest, in a sense. So you don't want to keep your credit card payments high or want to keep on paying that. You want to, if you do keep making payments, you want to keep them as low as possible. So pay off as much as you can towards your credit cards every month. Use your credit cards, but pay as much as you can towards them.
Yeah, makes sound sense, sound advice.
Mhm.
What about using your credit card for an investment? Like
Um,
let's say I want to buy some gold, right? Some physical gold. And I got a credit card with $10,000 limit. That means I can
Don't
get
do it, Chris.
that means I can get about 5 ounces of gold, right?
mhm.
Would you recommend it for or against that?
It depends on your risk tolerance and your ability to make that money back in time to make the payments. So, you can take $10,000 out of your credit card and put all on black, but I would never recommend that. But if you are making a wise investment, then it opens the door for you to be able to take advantage of somebody else's money. So using somebody else's money to be able to take advantage of something you wouldn't be able to otherwise. So if you don't have $10,000 sitting around, buying gold for that moment would give you an opportunity to, get that ROI within a month, within 2 months, within 3. Then, I would say that would be sound investments. But if you're not going to see your ROI, within 10 years, then you're paying interest for 10 years. And that's not a wise investment. So, as an example, if you were to utilize a credit card, there's multiple ways to do this, but you can get a credit card, liquidate the credit card, and be able to take a quick, fix and flip. So you have a lot of property investors that see an opportunity to buy a home and fix it. What they need, maybe a quick $10,000 or $20,000. So if you have a high limit credit card, you'll be able to take the money out of that credit card, purchase that fix and flip, do get a hard money loan if you need to get a hard money loan. And hard money loans, they do come with some perks where they actually can pay for the renovation, depending on how you set it up with your lender. Fix the home within 3 or 6 months. Within 3 to 6 months, you will obviously get a ROI on that property. So as long as you know what you're doing, that would be a wise investment. By that 6-month time frame, you can pay back that $20,000 that you took off on the credit card without really being a heavy burden on you as far as payment wise.
All right. So what I hear you saying is that, which makes perfect sense, have the ROI, right? So if you can't outpace the interest, maybe not a good investment.
That's agreed. That's exactly the case. I would not recommend you just to go out and just get the money and do whatever. Again, to be an asset, we have to go back to the consideration of being an asset. And you have to have the tool set and the mindset. So you have to have a plan in place for what you're planning on using it for. So I can use my what I did recently, actually in the beginning of this year, as an example, where a lot of people would think would be unwise, but I went to a car dealership and bought 2 cars straight off the lot. And
Yes, my man.
zero. I used $0, zero money down. Went on the lot and I said, "Look, give me 2 brand new Jeeps."
Oh,
And
you got Jeeps? You got the Rubicon?
I got the Wrangler and the Grand Cherokee L.
Sick.
Mhm.
Sick.
Beautiful cars, beautiful
Why'd you
cars.
get 2 though? You need 2?
No, I don't need to.
Huh.
But I decided to get the two for, again, leverage. I got the two cars to rent out. The reason
Ah,
why I realized that rental cars, as far as the rental companies, enterprise and so forth, they're always running out of cars. So why are they running out of cars? Demand for rental cars were high. So I saw an opportunity for me to jump into the rental car game. So I decided to I decided to buy two cars. And again, zero money down, so it's a low barrier to entry. So it didn't
wow.
cost me anything to get into the game, right? I have a monthly payment on that. By me renting out those vehicles, I'm getting my monthly payments in.
Yeah.
So those cars are basically paying for themselves,
Those cars are
and
assets. Are they generating cash flow for you or just
they,
paying them themselves?
they are generating cash flow. Now
Nice.
they are. I'm not going to say that they're generating a large cash flow, but they're paying enough to where they're paying for themselves. I'm getting maybe a couple $100 every month off of them, but I also have two cars that can drive around and take the family out,
Yeah, that's
uh,
fantastic.
and do that. To where now
And
I
they're
don't have
yours. They'll be paid off in like what, 7 years, 5 years, whatever you set up.
yes, and I have a plan. I have an exit plan with the cars, and I also have a setup to where, like, okay, I will only allow the cars to go a certain mileage per year, so that they don't depreciate in value. So you don't depreciate in value for too
Wow.
fast.
This is the way
And
we should have done it. My TRX and your Corvette, Chris. We should rent them out on days we're not driving
Yeah.
them. I'm down.
you know the way Chris laughed, I could tell he loves his Corvette. He loves it.
Yeah, that's
You
not
gotta
gonna happen.
to be able to do that, you got to detach yourself away from the love of the car. So,
Mm,
I know there was my first brand new car that I purchased. Yeah, nobody was driving that.
dang.
No,
There you go.
but again, I went in purchasing car knowing what the reason why I wanted to do it. So the love of the car is not there. Doesn't
But
mean
what
I'm
was
not.
the strategy for that? Like, did you get a business credit card and use it under a business account, or did you do it under your own personal credit, or how?
I leveraged my personal credit, but I did not get the cars under my name. The cars are actually under my business.
Uh-huh.
And doing it that way was a way to where the debt on the cars are not reflecting on my personal credit.
I see.
So those two vehicles, like if you were to think, why would you get two cars now? That's going to stop you from getting anything else? Not really, because now when you are able to transfer information or transfer the cars to your business, that debt itself does not impact my DTI.
Mhm.
So that income doesn't impact. So I
That
can go out
income.
and do it again. The only thing that the lenders require is to check my personal credit to see if I am a viable client, if I am a person that make payments on time. And it's something that they call being a personal guarantee. So I'm a personal guarantor to those.
Ah,
If
so
my
that's what you
business.
mean by leveraging your credit. You're a
Mhm,
personal guarantor. They'll run your credit once, so you'll get an inquiry, but the
mhm,
actual loan doesn't show on your name, it shows on the business name.
that is correct.
That's smart. See, that's smart. Uh, but the banks these days are like little bitches. They won't give people loans. They
Um,
We just went. I
Well,
had an excellent credit, and one bank gave me. They ran it like to 2 or 3. B of
mhm.
A, shout out to B of A. They gave me one, but the PNC Bank, bunch of bitches, man. They rejected me and my wife. You'll never sponsor this channel, PNC Bank, unless it's good money. Then hit me up. Call me.
uh, certain banks have certain requirements and certain things that they look for in your profile. It's just the same way when you go to the dealer and you decide to buy a car in the dealer and have your credit ran there, they run your credit like 10, 15 times. The reason why they're trying to find a bank that will accept you because every bank has a
10
specific
to
requirement that
15
they're looking
times.
to.
Man, they're killing. The guy was telling me, like, oh, you have excellent credit. And I said, yeah, not anymore. You guys screwed it
Mhm.
up.
Yeah.
And so, but we got a loan. But why, like, there's not a real appetite from the lenders right now. For those watching, it's 2023, almost 24, for banks to do this. Like, are you noticing more people getting turned down, whereas in the past they weren't?
Um, I do agree with you in that sense. That's why when it comes to searching out lending, you have to be very strategic in that process. You can easily be denied. I can easily be denied for lending, even with a good credit score over 700. Having a good credit score doesn't mean that you're automatically going to get approved. It's the profile and what the underwriters are looking for in that process. So there are some banks that are stringent, that are really tight. Some banks that are not. It's knowing that and building a relationship with them. So one key aspect of what I teach is having relationships with the banks also improves your credibility with them and your ranking with them to get approved.
Mhm.
So
How do you do that? Sorry, PNC Bank, you guys not bitches. How do you do
Uh,
this? Build a relationship.
So basically, imagine if you have multiple accounts. You have a checking account. You say you and your wife. You have a history with the banks. They see money coming in. They see money coming out. Right. You're no longer just a new person on the block where they're only basing it off your score. They're basing it off your prior relationship with him. Are you one that make your payments on time? Do they see a lot of cash flow going into your account? Do they see you overdrafting a lot? All
Ah,
those things impact you, impact your credibility with the banks. So
interesting. So do you think that's because we ended up getting with B of A? They were the ones that approved it, and that's who we have our joint personal checkings with. And PNC Bank, we have no relationship at all with
that
them.
that is likely. That is likely because
Mm.
they already have a history with you. They know if they can track you. They know, all right, this person has certain cash flow coming in, or they have enough money in their savings account. If if something were to go wrong with the loan, you'll be able to cover it.
But
So
tell me, Michael, like Chris and I, we work in pharma. So all these
mhm,
big pharma, Eli Lilly, Boehringer, Pfizer, they all share like the research clinics. So they all
mhm.
share like this site is good, this one in Yuma, Arizona is good, this one in San Bernardino, California is good. The big pharma share to help themselves. Don't the big banks do this too? Like, doesn't B of A share with PNC? Like, hey, this is one of our clients. This is their profile, even though I'm not with, let's say, PNC, or does that not work that way in the banks?
They don't really share communication, they're not allowed to share your information in that sense. There is a system called check system. Not sure if you've ever heard that, where it's really a lot of people, when it comes to the credit agencies, some people call them the credit bureaus, but they're not bureaus. It's credit agencies. A lot of people only are aware of the top three, which is TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. But there are multiple agencies out there that collect data on you. There is one that's called Check System that really collects all your banking data, banking information. That's the only means to where that any bank that does not have an account you have an account with, that's the only area where they would be able to pull any information with you with your other bank accounts.
Okay.
So, due to the quick lull, I got a question here. Trivia question. Everybody likes trivia, right?
Ah, trivia.
What do the movies Clerks, Blair Witch Project, and Hollywood Shuffle? Have you seen all three of those?
I've seen none.
None. How about you, Michael? You seen all three of those?
Hollywood Shuffle rings a bell.
Okay. So, what do those three movies have in common? Getting back to something Michael said a little bit ago.
You stumped me right there.
So, all three of those movies were paid for using credit cards.
Mm,
Ah,
So, and all three of them were a pretty big success too. I didn't like Blair Witch Project, but I've seen all three.
yeah.
Clerks is pretty damn funny. Hollywood Shuffle is pretty damn funny. Blair Witch Project I didn't find scary at all. I thought it was ridiculous. But in fact, Blair Witch Project made like $200 million. They spent like $27,000 making that movie on their credit cards.
Yeah, it was like
mhm.
someone's camcorder. I didn't watch
Yeah,
it. Those kind of
eh,
movies make me sick, like nauseous. Like I actually get sick watching those, but it inspired a whole movement of like independent
type.
film creators to
Yeah.
make those kind of movies. Terrible movies, by the way, if you have motion sickness. Like, I can't watch those things, man. I have to like watch it with my eyes closed.
But each of those 3 movies were made for under 50K, right?
Damn.
Hollywood Shuffle and Clerks, which I think are way better than Blair Witch Project.
Wow.
The creators used their credit cards, maxed out all their credit cards to make them.
But they're still risking it. Like these days, that would be like the equivalent of a YouTuber saying, "Hey, I'm gonna max out my credit card and build up my YouTube channel."
Yeah,
It's risky. It's risky.
but that's where the ROI is there, right?
Yeah, the ROI is there.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
Blair Witch Project. I don't know what the other 2 movies made. I know they all made money, but Blair Witch Project, it's brought in like $200 million.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that was started the movement. But what if someone approached you like that, Michael? Said, "Hey, man, uh, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. I'm gonna max out my credit card, and then in like 12 months, hopefully, I'll make enough to pay it off." What would you? Do you think that's a good idea or too
Um,
risky?
most again, I would say most of my clients or most of the individuals that come to me, they don't really come to me with their full business ideas. Now, if you have a passion for something and you know you're willing to bet on yourself, and that's what the movie makers, that's what they were willing to do. They were willing to bet on themselves, to take that risk, to take that chance, to do something like that. I wouldn't stray away from that because I took a risk. I took a chance. A lot of people, even me 5 years ago, wouldn't even tell myself to take a chance on, purchasing, cars well over $100,000 to,
Two
buy
cars,
and
man.
do something, right?
Those cars
Or
are expensive these days. What was
yeah,
each one's like? Approximately each one was worth like what, like 60 grand?
which yeah, at the time, yeah, 60 grand each. So it's over $120,000. Like, dude, are you really want
On
but
the
when
same
you
day,
yep, on the same
the
exact day.
dealer must have loved you, man.
Oh yeah, they cashed out. They wanted it. But but yes, if somebody were to come to me with that, I would say follow your passion. Obviously, you take the risk, but you have to be one person. And again, if you believe in yourself, I'm a person that I always say just go with what God's telling you to go with. If that's where your feet are being led to do, then do that. A lot of the times people are going, people have ideas. I give you another example, Amazon. Amazon, if you look at their balance sheets, Amazon was in debt, they built their empire on debt. They borrowed money until continued to borrow money until something really clicked and something happened. So they took a very risky path in being to where they're at. But if they did not, if Jeff Bezos decided to wait till he had the money to do that, we wouldn't be having, we wouldn't have Amazon. I wouldn't have Amazon packages waiting outside my door right now. So in all sense, it goes back to that belief system and knowing that, what, I have an idea. And a lot of times people stop at an idea and think I can't get the money to really do it. So they don't really take that risk in doing it. But sometimes you really do. I'd say take it. If you have the opportunity, if you have the credit to hold you down, hold you to do that. Now, if you have good credit, you more than likely got there by making wise decisions, by making good decisions, thoughtful decisions.
Most
So
likely, yeah.
if most likely, so if you are able to get $50,000, able to get $100,000, then if you were able to get in that position, then you are more than likely in a place where you're able to take a risk advantage and going in there with a entrepreneurial mindset. In my opinion, there's no way for you to fail.
It also boils down to risk tolerance too. Like
It,
the older you are, you should probably have less risk tolerance.
yeah.
Less time to recover. What about this? Can we talk a little bit about credit stacking, business funding, and business structure?
Yes. A lot of new entrepreneurs, they start a business, and again they have a beautiful idea, and a lot of times they are stop because they either don't have the capital or don't know how to reach out to banks or get the banks to approve their capital. Not realizing their personal, they have to basically start from their personal credit, get their personal credit in order, and leverage that to be able to, move on and get the get the capital that they need. You do have opportunity to to use your business credit, but it takes time to build business credit. You cannot be a entrepreneur, a new business, and think you're automatically going to get business credit, or or you're automatically going to get approved for things, because banks have requirements. You have to be in business for 2 years or more. You have to make $100,000 in revenue. You have to have tax statements, bank statements, so forth and so forth. And people just don't have that. So when you are in a position for that, when you're in that position like that, you sometimes are forced to really, get into the credit stacking phase. And to explain credit stacking for those that don't understand,
Yeah, break that
is
down.
getting the tier one credit cards, or credit cards from the banks, and stacking them. A lot of times you need a large amount of funding, maybe 50,000 or 100,000. You're really not going to get approved for that. But being able to go to multiple places and getting $10,000 here, $15,000 here, $20,000 here, getting multiple credit cards and stacking those credit cards to make a large investment into your business, so that your business can grow. And doing that again strategically is important. A lot of people think that, okay, if I get 5 different credit cards or 3 different credit cards, isn't that going to cause to get multiple inquiries? There's a way to do that to get to not really get multiple inquiries, to really count as one inquiry towards each individual bureau. Having the knowledge to know that there are banks that pull from different credit agencies, and if you are, in that position where that, you would be able to go to 3 separate banks and get three separate credit cards in one day. You can go to Chase. Chase that pulls from Experian. Chase pulls from Experian. You can go to Chase and get a credit card from them. In the same day, you can go over to a new bank called Truist. Sorry, running brain fire right here.
Shout out to
Truist.
Chase. They're one of our least favorites. We're here on the Chris and Dan show.
I won't mention them again.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. So you go to 3 different banks. You tell them
Yes.
basically, hey, this other one just gave me, let's say
You
10
don't tell them
grand.
that.
Or you don't tell them.
No, you don't tell them. They
Okay.
won't know otherwise. So imagine,
okay.
imagine you go to Chase. I said I won't mention them again, but
That's
imagine you
okay,
do
I'm
go
just
to
joking.
that. No, okay. You go to Chase, and you go they're going to run your credit. They're going to pull your credit, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right, Dan, you're approved for $10,000. Great, thank you. Thank you for that. I'll take that $10,000. You go next door to Truist. Hey, I would like to apply for a credit card. All right, we're going to run your credit. They're pulling from a different agency. They don't know what you just did at Chase. And they don't care otherwise. If you go and tell them, that will unfortunately ruin your chances.
I see.
So you
have to know beforehand, like which agency they're using.
That's correct.
Gotcha. And that's as simple as like a Google search or a Reddit search.
That's as simple as giving them a phone call.
You can just ask them straight up, who do you guys? Okay.
Sometimes they're a little vague on their answer, but depends on who you're getting. If you're not
I'd like to speak to your manager. I'm not getting the help I need.
Yeah, you can hang up and call back again, or just it depends on how you act. Also, like, hey, one little hack and you can do is just call them. Hey, I'm looking to make an application in, but I normally freeze my credit accounts. I want to know which credit accounts I should unfreeze so I can apply with you guys, and they'll give you an answer right there. And there from there you could know which agencies that they pull from and how to leverage that.
Like that, you would ask that if they're not giving you the direct answer, basically.
Yeah, basically.
I see.
So it doesn't come off as
nice little hack.
Wow.
It doesn't
Those
come
are
off
good
as
tips.
you're just trying to, get over on one.
We should.
Everybody loves banks. You don't want to pull hacks on the banks.
I like the local one. The first time of living in a small
I was
city.
totally being sarcastic, but yeah, I know you
Yeah.
like it. I like
The
your
small ones are
local
good,
bank.
but like First Bank Yuma, big shout out to them. We opened up like 4 LLCs with them, no problem. You don't even need all the people
Members.
present. Just get them to sign stuff. It's awesome. Small is the new big, but then you go to like Chase. First of all, they treat you like shit. Then they tell you they can't do it. Then they tell you they can, and they screw it up. Which is literally what happened to us.
Yes, it is, and very, very irritating.
Man,
Yeah.
maybe we should consult with Michael for our business stuff.
There you go, Michael. You
We
get some
got
new
like
customers.
15 LLCs. We can play a lot of games. That's your
Okay,
next
yeah.
topic, which is the business structure.
Yes, yes. With business structure, again, going back to the new business owners, they tend to merge their personal lives with their business lives. And by that I mean when they open up a business, they use a lot of their information, home address, home telephone numbers, regular Gmail account, all those things that basically blends their self with their business. And unfortunately, the banks don't take you serious. They don't take you as upstanding business. If you're coming to them with a business that doesn't have its own address, a business that doesn't have its own phone number, preferably a 1-800 number, a toll-free number, a business that is using a Gmail or a Yahoo account. A lot of people are starting businesses with those setups, and again, you do not look professional as possible.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean
Chris.
you're not, doesn't mean
Thanks,
that you're
Dan.
doesn't mean you're not going to get funded. You are, but you're not going to be able to get the maximum. If you come to them correctly, or if you come to them in a way to where, again, you look like your business that's going to make $100,000, your business that's going to make well over 200, you're going to bring them money, then of course they're going to be able, they're going to be able to give you as much as possible to based off of your profile. So with structure, it's important to have a good business name, a business name that doesn't come off as high risk. And a lot of people have trucking businesses, or they're in a space that is really considered high risk, that dinks points off your approval ratings, right? The next step is having a business address. And when you're going out for lending, these banks, they Google you. They will Google your business. So if your business comes in, and it's showing an apartment or it's showing a home, all right, you're not really established. How much money are you really bringing in if you're doing things out of your garage, right? So that dings points off your approval ratings. If you're using a Gmail, that again doesn't come off as professional.
Wow.
If you don't have a direct line to your business, 1-800 number, that's a ding off your business. Those are little things that you need to take into account. And to be honest, those things are really inexpensive to really start off. You can get a virtual address for as little as $50 a month. A lot of people don't really need to rent out a whole building. You can just get a virtual address, and that can be considered your business address. So when they look you up, it comes up with in a building that looks like it's doing business. You can get a toll-free number. You can get Freedom Voice is a company I'll shout out. They can give you a toll-free number for a little as $9.99 a month. $10 a month, you can get a toll-free number that routes to your personal number. But when you're going to to the bank and putting in your applications, you're putting in that toll-free number. You're give them that number, and they're like, okay, wow, you have a 1-800 number, so you are serious. When you're taking those steps, it shows the banks that you're serious about your business. You're not just here to just try something new. You're here to really take it serious. So by you establishing those steps, it makes them trust you even more.
What was the name of that 800 number that routes directly to? So it's like Google, Voice, right? Or Google, what's the, you
No,
have
he
Freedom
said
Voice.
Freedom Voice.
Freedom
Freedom
Voice.
Voice.
It's
Freedom
kind of the
Voice.
same as the Google, what's the Google name for that same
Google
service?
Voice is not as good because when someone calls it, it says, "Please wait while Google is trying to find your party." So you can
Okay.
tell they're using Google Voice.
So
It,
Freedom
it,
Voice rings right through, straight
Yeah.
to the other number.
it rings right through. Yep.
Okay.
It'll route right directly to your phones. You set it up, and it'll ring right through. You can even you pay a little bit extra. You can even have it have it have a speech before, like this call will be recorded. It'll can do that for you too.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's good to know, especially for Dan. It's good to know for new clients that are starting up and they got to have that 24-hour number for the.
Yeah. Well, I found a
consent.
good one in Arizona for that. We're using one. I think it's
Yeah.
like $13 a month or something for the emergency. Someone will actually pick up. I think it's
Okay.
30 a month. Someone will pick up the phone and you instruct them what to say for after hours. I have yet to get a call. But we have to have one for the nature of our business, like emergency line. So I
Mhm.
instructed them, anyone calls, you tell them to call 911 and you write down what the issue was and you tell me in the morning. But it has never happened. But they
But
do
this-
call. Monitors
the-
do call and check.
Yeah, and this Freedom Voice will work for that.
Freedom Voice will work, but it won't solve the problem of someone answering it though. Like your
Eh,
staff will still need to answer it, even 3 in
Sure.
the morning. This place that I have, it's a cost a little more, but a live person will answer it and make it
Yeah.
seem like it's you, like your
Okay.
team.
Yep.
That's the
Mhm.
difference.
Yeah, there are a number of companies that do that actually picks up the phone
Yeah.
for you during business hours. There, some virtual address locations or companies that you paying a little bit more, you can actually have a receptionist pick up the phone and pick up with your business name.
Mhm. Yep. I mean, this was great, man. I think like there's more we can discuss on this, but we might need to do, excuse me, part 2 and maybe even more because this is ever evolving topic. Right now it really sucks if you are shopping for credit. Unfortunately, the time was better 2 years ago. It was perfect.
2+, yeah.
2+. What do you think about shopping for credit when it's really tough? It's like, I mean, people like you probably do a lot better this time of year or this time of the economic cycle, no?
And yeah, that is a good point. You know, I don't want to come off, come off like it's like people aren't really struggling, but it's never a bad time to really use it. Again, we're leveraging credit. You're not using credit. Using credit as a consumer, you're going to get stuck with those high bills every month. When you're in a position to where you're able to have an idea or see an opportunity, no matter what the interest rate is, no matter as long as the ROI over exceeds the risk, the amount that you're borrowing, it's never a bad time. So if you see an opportunity to purchase a home or purchase a piece of land, if you're able to purchase a piece of land right now that you know is going to grow in value in the next 6 months, why wait? Why, if you're continuing to wait until prices go down, prices of homes aren't going to go down anytime soon. Why wait to fix your credit now? I mean, why wait to fix your credit for later when today's the perfect day to take an opportunity on an idea or an investment. And a lot of times you have people that get rich in recessions. Right now it is tough times. Things are, really, the grocery prices are going up. I'm seeing day to day that you see people are really struggling to make their car payments, make their house payments. It's really tough out there. But in all actuality, if you see opportunities, take that. Take that opportunity to leverage it and be able to put you in a better position for tomorrow. This isn't the time to just harbor everything that you got and hold on to things that you have, because in a year or 2 years later, those items or those things are actually going to be worth less. The individual that takes risk is the one that actually takes advantage of an opportunity like this. When people are fearful, this is the time for you to really go out there and take a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely good advice.
rscsolutions.llc.com. Well, thank you, Michael, so much. Everybody go connect. If you want to watch the full podcast of this man and talk about credit and everything you need to know, demystifying credit, click the link below to see the whole podcast. If you came just for the song, God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you for joining us, Michael. Very interesting topic. And as Dan said, maybe sometime in the future, we'd like to have you back.
Definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Have a good